Hey guys, it's Mike from Missouri. Well, the chore we have today is heat treating these two bushings that I made for the lower boom arms of my Case 1840. If you're new to the channel, I've been doing all the pins and bushings on a 1990 Case 1840. The lower boom arms were severely worn, so we bored them out with a homemade do-it-yourself line bore. And now we need to heat treat these bushings before we press them in. The bushings are made from 50-100, which is a little difficult to heat treat. I have some experience with it, but I'm not an expert. This is commonly used for ball bearings, and a lot of people will make knives out of them. So right here I got my homemade forge. We're going to put a K-type, which is a high temperature style temperature probe in it, because the 50-100, unlike some other steels, it's a little more finicky when it comes to the temperature that you want to dip them in, or dip them at, I should say. So I believe that temperature is 1500 degrees. Let's get the forge going and warmed up, and then we'll get our temperature probe installed. So I'm going to kick the blower fan on here. Put some propane tank. Alright guys, so here is my K-type probe. And I'm using an 80 TK thermocouple module and a fluke meter set on DC volts. So right now it is showing it's 53 degrees here in the shop. You can notice I put my finger on the end of this and it should go up. There we go. Counting up. So we're going to insert this into the forge to get some accurate temperature readings. Climbing quickly. 300 degrees, way hotter than that. The probe is taking a while to warm up. Steady or right around 1500 degrees, so we're going to get it up to 1500 pretty quick, and I'll bring it back. Right, so we're real close to our 1500 degrees. I backed it down a little bit. I'm going to crank it up a little bit more here, but let's get our bushings put in there. One bushing in there at a time, unless I put another. I don't like the flame to get right on the bushing, so you use that piece of square stock in there to help deflect the flame off of it. Okay, I found a piece of square or round stock to put in there. Put my other bushing inside. difference doing that, but that's the way I've done the last few, and they turned out well. I need to bring my temperature up. It's only at 1300. Change the amount of propane with the regulator. Got a little piece of steel in there that I move in and out to control how much air goes in. It wants to vibrate out, so I got some tape holding it on. I'll bring it back when we get closer to quenching. You can barely see that the one on the right's still hotter. That's the one I put in first. That's why we keep them in for so long, to make sure the material is the same temperature throughout. So I'm going to set a timer and let them heat soak at 1500 degrees for half an hour. I'll bring you back in before we quench. I'm using olive oil here. I'll need to warm that up to about 100 degrees, and then we'll quench in the oil and immediately go into a tempering process to reduce the hardness in my household oven at 400 degrees for an hour. Alright guys, it's been a half an hour. I'm holding just over 1500 degrees. I'm going to set you up so you can see. I'm going to pull them out, quench them in this heated up olive oil, and then I'm going to put them in this pot and put the lid on, bring them to the house, get them in the oven for tempering. All right, here we go. Welding gloves on. One down. A little harder to get. Just barely touch them. All right. Get those in the house. All right, I just took them out of the oven after being in there at 400 degrees for an hour. They're still too hot to touch. Just wanted to give you guys a good look at them. They don't appear to have distorted, which is a good thing. I will get them a little cleaned up and then do a file test. I got this piece that we just heat treated out of the oven after we tempered it at 400 degrees. I've really haven't cleaned it off. All of this oil is still crusted and burnt on here, but I got a piece of 4140 here that's not heat treated, and I wanted to show you the difference between how hard this is versus this piece of 4140. I got a file here, and I'm going to put the same pressure on both pieces. And I made it pretty big. I'm going to do the same thing and try to put the same groove in the bushing. It sounds different. You really can't get it to grab. I put a little bit of mark on there, but I was more aggressive with that. But anyway, it's pretty. That grabs. This just skates across. So anyway, it's definitely hard. Don't have a way to test it exactly, but I'm happy with the results. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.